Hello guys. Hope each and every one of you is doing well. By the way, I'm Lakwa Cephas and I'm your host. Today we will be talking about David Livingstone. David Livingstone was a Scottish physician, Congregationalist, and pioneer Christian missionary with the London Missionary Society, an explorer in Africa, and one of the most popular British heroes of the late 19th century Victorian era. He had a mythic status that operated on a number of interconnected levels: Protestant missionary martyr, working class rags to riches, inspirational story, scientific investigator and explorer, imperial reformer, anti-slavery crusader, and advocate of British commercial and colonial expansion. Livingstone's fame as an explorer and his obsession with learning the sources of the Nile River was founded on the belief that if he could solve that age-old mystery, his fame would give him the influence to end the East African Arab Swahili slave trade. The Nile sources, he told a friend, are valuable only as a means of opening my mouth with power among men. It is this power, with which I hope to remedy an immense evil. His subsequent exploration of the Central African watershed was the culmination of the classic period of European geographical discovery and colonial penetration of Africa. At the same time, his missionary travels, disappearance, and eventual death in Africa, and subsequent glorification as a posthumous national hero in 1874, led to the founding of several major Central African Christian missionary initiatives carried forward in the era of the European scramble for Africa. His meeting with Henry Morton Stanley on the 10th of November 1871 gave rise to the popular quote, "Dr. Livingstone, I presume?" Livingstone was born on the 19th of March 1813 in the mill town of Blantyre, Scotland, in a tenement building for the workers of a cotton factory on the banks of the River Clyde under the bridge crossing into Bothwell. He was the second of 7 children born to Neil Livingstone, born on 1788 to 1856, and his wife Agnes, née Hunter, 1782 to 1865. David was employed at the age of 10 in the cotton mill of Henry Monteith and Company in Blantyre Works. He and his brother John worked 12-hour days as piecers, tying broken cotton threads on the spinning machines. Neil Livingstone was a Sunday school teacher and teetotaler who handed out Christian tracts on his travels as a door-to-door tea salesman. He read books on theology, travel, and missionary enterprises extensively. This rubbed off on the young David, who became an avid reader, but he also loved scouring the countryside for animal, plant, and geological specimens in local limestone quarries. Neil feared that science books were undermining Christianity and attempted to force his son to read nothing but theology, but David's deep interest in nature and science led him to investigate the relationship between religion and science. In 1832, he read Philosophy of a Future State, written by Thomas Dick, and he found the rationale that he needed to reconcile faith and science and, apart from the Bible, this book was perhaps his greatest philosophical influence. Other significant influences in his early life were Thomas Burke, a Blantyre evangelist, and David Hogg, his Sunday school teacher. At age 19, David and his father left the Church of Scotland for a local Congregational church, influenced by preachers like Ralph Wardlaw, who denied predestinary limitations on salvation. Influenced by revivalistic teachings in the United States, Livingstone entirely accepted the proposition put by Charles Finney, professor of theology at Oberlin College, Ohio, that the Holy Spirit is open to all who ask it. For Livingstone, this meant the release from the fear of eternal damnation. Livingstone's reading of missionary Carl Gutzliff's appeal to the churches of Britain and America on behalf of China enabled him to persuade his father that medical study could advance religious ends. Livingstone hoped to go to China as a missionary, but the First Opium War broke out in September 1839, and the LMS suggested the West Indies instead. In 1840, while continuing his medical studies in London, Livingstone met LMS missionary Robert Moffat, on leave from Kuruman, a missionary outpost in South Africa, north of the Orange River. He was excited by Moffat's vision of expanding missionary work northwards, and he was also influenced by abolitionist T.F. Buxton's arguments that the African slave trade might be destroyed through the influence of legitimate trade and the spread of Christianity. Livingstone, therefore, focused his ambitions on southern Africa. Livingstone was deeply influenced by Moffat's judgment that he was the right person to go to the vast plains to the north of Bechuanaland, where he had glimpsed the smoke of 1,000 villages, where no missionary had ever been. This time, he visited Mabitsa, Botswana near Zeerust, Northwest Province, South Africa, an area where there were many lions terrorizing the villagers. They stated, "The lion, the lord of the night, kills our cattle and sheep even in the daytime." Livingstone felt that, if he could kill just one lion, the others would take it as a warning and leave the villages and their livestock alone. Therefore, he led the villagers on a lion hunt. Seeing a large lion, he fired his gun, but the animal was not sufficiently injured to prevent it from attacking him while reloading, seriously wounding his left arm. The broken bone, even though inexpertly set by himself and a missionary's daughter, bonded strongly, enabling him to shoot and lift heavy weights, though it remained the source of much suffering for the rest of his life, and he was not able to lift the arm higher than his shoulder. I hope you enjoyed this video. Kindly subscribe and don't forget to leave your comments. Thanks.